Yo, welcome back to the podcast. I'm MN Cappo and we have jacksanktheboat. How you doing, bro?
Woo! Very well, thank you, Cappo. How's your week been?
Yeah, pretty good. Yourself?
Not bad at all. I've been making music, made a couple beats, wrote a couple verses, had a good week.
That's good, man. I've been trying to make soulful samples from scratch and it's been a bit challenging.
What's that been like?
Like you look at it on YouTube, like people that do it on YouTube, and you're like, oh, this is easy. And then you go to do it and it's actually not. And one thing that's really hard as well is when you're trying to use a sample as a reference, it's really hard not to try and copy it too much. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, because like if I want to make it different, it changes the feel of it. And it's really hard to know when you're copying something or using something as a reference that you want it to feel the same, what to change about it so that happens. Because I want to change the chords so that the chords feel the same. But I want them to feel the same, but I want them to be different because I want it to not be the original sample. That's you can go in circles.
It is, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So that's been cool. And I started writing a new song today for the album. So that's cool. I haven't written in a couple of weeks. So yeah, it's good to kind of get that release, of writing something new. It's good.
Very.
All right.
What are we doing today?
All right. So I've got some questions because you're leaving pretty soon, eh?
Yeah, I'm leaving in less than a month.
How are you feeling about that?
I'm excited for Sydney, still.
Yeah.
Sydney, I hope it's the big smoke, I hope it's all I ever dreamed of. Not that I ever dreamed of moving to Sydney, but once I'm there, I like it was, because I'm sure I'll be having lots of fun. And that's what I'm saying to convince myself that it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to miss you boys. I'm going to miss Canberra. I'm going to miss Street Uni Canberra.
Definitely going to miss you, bro.
Miss Smith's Alternative, all the venues. I'm going to miss the first people I ever made bangers with.
Yeah, for sure.
Bangers though, not just songs, bangers.
Do you have any friends in Sydney? Do you have many friends there?
Nah, not really, but I'll make friends.
Yeah,
that's the thing about music, right? It's social.
100%.
Yeah. You just gotta fit right.
Yeah, 100%.
Which I'm nervous about.
So
the less I think about it, the better it goes. It's like anything.
What are your plans for Sydney, with your music? What you get to Sydney, you settle in a bit, and you're like, okay, now I want to connect to people. What's your sort of plan? Do you have a plan for that, or you just go with the flow?
Yeah. My plan actually is to scout out gigs that are happening and go to gigs at every different venue I can in as quick succession as possible, and just not drink. Just sit there, not by myself, and kind of take it in, get the vibe, see whether I like the venue or not. And then once I found my favorite, I want to just go to that. I don't want to even bother with the others. It's like when you're clubbing. It's going to be that approach. You want to see everything so you know it's there, and then I'm just going to focus in what I feel like the artists I want to connect with, the place that the artists I want to connect it with are most likely to perform. Because that's the thing, is artists do go to different venues. And then when I find artists that I like, I'll follow them around to the different venues they perform at. And then from there, it's just who's supporting who are the people who I already like here putting on and putting on in loose terms, because it's usually, I mean, with Canberra, it's been closer circles, but I guess I'm suspecting that it's going to be more of everything. So more different close circles of people who support each other and all of that stuff. But once I've found what feels right, I'll find what feels right. But I guess I'm just going to start by venue hopping every night.
Every night. Yeah. Cool.
Every night that I can.
Yeah, for sure.
If it was every night, it would be very short. It would be like I would tie myself out within 3 nights, and I would have been to 3 venues and felt like I'd seen the whole city, because I'd feel like I'd just seen the whole city, because it would be 3 nights in a row of no breaks.
You could have like a calendar, be like, on this day I'll go visit this venue, and then this day, or I guess
I'm not that planned. It's
yeah.
I mean, I'll only go when gigs are on, but the idea, like, there's no way to find out every single place that has regular shows.
That's true. Yeah.
I guess there are newsletters. Anyway, what about it?
Yeah, dope.
Any add-on questions?
Any add-on questions? Well, I guess, like, what are you gonna miss about Canberra?
Canberra's beautiful. Canberra is like, I can count so many things on one hand about Canberra, like the number of good cafes, the number of rappers, because no one raps in Canberra, obviously. I'm not going to miss people saying that. I'm not going to miss people saying, oh, I'm the best rapper from this city, because in Sydney you're not, because someone's obviously going to be doing better than you. But Canberra, yeah, I'm gonna miss. I'm not gonna miss. Yeah, I'm just answering the opposite question, which I think is really funny. I don't know why I started doing that. I just did.
Not gonna miss.
I'm not gonna miss the fact that nobody, as well as all the rappers thinking they're the only rapper, I'm also not going to miss all of the people who want to go to live shows not realizing that live shows are happening. But I guess I was looking forward to just aging in Canberra for that reason, but it's too small to further, to correctly mature as someone who understands the culture. I think it's just a lot of understanding I need to get done.
Yeah, for sure. You need to get out there and explore.
And yeah, I really won't miss much. I won't be sentimental about any of my friends, or whatever. And I'm gonna forget that everyone exists. That's the plan. I'm just gonna forget everyone and everything. Yeah,
definitely. Here's a bit of a different question. Do you feel like your style will ever change? Like, do you feel like...
Yeah, it does. Every like, not that I've had that many album cycles, but I have seasons that I go through that I feel have definite endpoints. And there was one between the Capsize and the one I'm currently working on. And there was one before the Capsize, and there was a project before that. And it's like, while I'm working on these projects, I'm thinking about a certain number of ideas. And it changes over time, because some ideas dim and other ones shine brighter, and new ones come along. And the new ones start as very small, because I've just heard this new artist I've never heard before, and I want to make something sort of like that. And it develops into this deeper understanding of why I like it. And so that I apply that more broad understanding of where it's coming from, rather than just the specific techniques. you know, the specific patterns or rhythms or whatever I'm enjoying about that particular song or
For sure.
artist or whatever.
So you're
Yeah,
you're
so
saying
it happens
that
over time
yeah.
with everyone. You can't control it if you don't want to control it, and I don't want to control it. I think it's one of the beautiful things about existing is change.
Change, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure. Dope, man.
but it's
Here's
also
a-
the scariest thing. Like, what if everyone starts hating my music? You know, what if I just have this big stylistic shift and everyone's like, this is bad, and I just can't go back because I'm not in that headspace anymore? That's always funny because
Well,
that
but-
happens to like big artists.
Yeah,
Their
but
fan bases
that's
turn
true.
and stuff. And
I guess there's that thing with like the classic album. Like, it's hard. I personally think it's hard for a big artist to have like all classic albums, you know? Like, there's a lot of artists who have their hit
Yeah.
album, and then, you know, it's like, that's it, you know? And sometimes they try and match it, but they just can't.
sometimes that's because the artist is staying the same and the culture is changing too quickly.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's because the culture is moving too slowly and the artist just like keeps moving until and sometimes you see big artists like that. They're usually not hip-hop artists. Hip-hop is one of those genres where you will have people who only listen to one kind of hip-hop, and that seems fine. But I don't know many people like that. I've just seen them around.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
curious fellows to me, the mono-genre listeners. I'd love to interview one. I'd love to interview someone who only listens to Lil Baby.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
like
Oh,
not even a rapper, just getting that perspective on the podcast. It would tickle me. We'd have some beef.
yeah, right. Why is that?
Oh, not actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Just
fair enough. Fair enough. Cool. What is at the top of your bucket list?
yeah, sick question. What's at the top of your bucket list, Cappo? You seem pretty tired of asking questions. You can have this one.
Okay.
All right. Well, obviously, it needs to have a handle. It's probably going to be plastic, and I want mine to be red. That's like number one, top of my bucket list.
What the
good-
handle?
Yeah, a handle so it's good for carrying water and whatever I want to carry in my bucket. No, I'm about to have a list of my favorites.
True
The number-
that. True
Sorry.
that. Nah, you're right. I don't know. Like, just I want to make an album that is remembered. You know what I mean?
I don't think I
Something-
could handle that.
Really?
I couldn't have. I mean, yeah, I could, because it would be like efficient and sustainable, and it would be like I wouldn't have to work. Wow, cool. But that wouldn't emotionally fulfill me, and I thought you meant emotional fulfillment. Like, what's the one thing I want to do in life? Yeah.
I
No.
think.
Sorry. No,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess if that's like cool for you, then that's cool for you. But that's not what I put on my bucket list. And I think you're wrong, and I think I'm right, and I think everyone else is wrong. Keep talking.
I think what I mean is like, just make an album that I'm really proud about, and that people really like. You know. I don't know. That's probably.
But
one
why
of the
just
things.
one? Don't you want to make another one after that?
Yeah, but I would rather make an album that like outdoes any of my other projects. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Okay, so it transcends you.
Yeah, it's like a signature album, you know?
Like Nujabes. Nujabes.
What?
New Jarvis is like basically one project. I know that I might not be educated enough. Maybe he has
Right.
loads of stuff. But there's one main one that everyone like knows. And then he died. So
Yeah.
I think a great way to do that, culturally, even though I know you meant personally to you, that is just like a great work of art. Culturally, a great way to do that is to die.
Yeah, true
So
that.
you could consider maybe if your own fulfillment isn't enough to live for, then you could just like have others perceive that you were fulfilled by dying too soon to tell them otherwise. That'd be sick and epic. You could do that. But mine would probably be something like that as well. Probably, maybe like meeting other artists, like artists that there are people on my bucket list. Obviously, not really, but I know pretty clearly like who would you take to the to dinner sort of thing. That kind of question. You know, I'm.
Or who you'd like to have a conversation with or whatever.
Yeah.
Pick their brain.
Sort of question.
Yeah, right. Cool. Next question. As an artist, what is something you think you could improve on?
Oh, so much.
But what's one thing that really sticks out? What's
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that you're like,
I'm
you're always in your brain?
It's really
wish I
tough
was
to
better
think.
at this.
I'm trying to say something. You've gone too deep. Oh, what was the question again?
What is something, as an artist, what is something that you think you could improve on? Like, what is something that you like that's at the top of your like improvement list, I guess? Like you think about it and you're like, I just wish I was better at this.
Same thing as pretty much the rest of my life, like organization, but also definitely like I have this bad habit of knowing something would make a beat better and then not doing it because it takes too much effort. So laziness.
So procrastination.
But also no, not procrastination. Just deciding, no, I'm not going to do this. Takes too much effort. And it depends what sort of headspace I'm in. I guess, being able to take it more seriously at the flip of a switch and just being able to go into work mode. So I guess having some experience with deadlines is what I need next to improve the best. Yeah, because I'm just trying to improve my flow of output, because I just hate that crushing feeling of having been working on something for so long that you can no longer put it out because it represents the art, like an image, an artist who you're no longer trying to be.
So deadlines.
I want to get to that point soon as possible, where every song that I've started and really resonated with and felt like it was a song that I wanted to put out and like put it in a special folder and all that. I want every one of those songs to be finished.
What do you think is holding you back from that? Tough question.
That's what I said. Not having that deadline instinct. I just got to train it up, to put on serious goggles and thinking cap. Sometimes I just don't know where they went. I've misplaced them, and so I'm not going to look for them. So I'm just gonna make a brand new one. And
Yeah,
then
for
I
sure.
go to work back on stuff, and it's just listening to it and then deciding, oh, I'm not listening to it through good enough speakers to know whether or not it sounds great. I've heard it too many times through these speakers. And then it's like, oh, I've got to record it. And then I have a day to record, and it's like one out of the three things I was trying to record gets recorded. And then I wait till the next recording day. And until the next recording day, it's like between those two processes, I've gone over the same beats, gone over the same old vocal takes, and gone, oh yeah, this is what I have. So soon I can start it and catch up. And maybe I'll label stuff or whatever. And so the next time it's labeled, and so it's easier for me to get back on. But it's really all just a kind of procrastination that comes from me, like, sort of being wishy-washy with it. And not taking enough pride in a finished thing. I feel like it's an attitude thing, as far as what I'm actively trying to improve. But musical skills, I don't know. I'd like to play the bass. That'd be cool. Things I need to get better at. Listening to music, actually. That's my answer. I changed my answer. I found my answer, I should say. I was looking for it and I found it. My answer is listening to more music so that I can have heard more music, because it sucks kind of like collaborating with someone and they're like, yo, this reminds me of this song, or this reminds me of this part in this song, and I'm like, or even they say, hey, I was trying to do something like this flow on this part of the beat, and I just want to know every single time what they're talking about.
Yeah, same. I feel
every
that
single
100%.
time.
Yeah,
That's unreasonable, but that's cool. You can work towards an unreasonable goal, because as long as you're working towards it, you're getting better.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah,
I resonate with that, because yeah, I'm the same. Like, someone would say, oh, you haven't heard of this artist? I'm like, no. Like, you haven't heard of this artist? Like, or, sometimes it's like a song that's very technical. The meaning's very technical, and I don't really understand it. And people will be like, oh, I love this song because it means this, blah, blah. And I'm just like, from listening to it, I can't pick that up, So I think for me, it's like listening to more music, but also being able to understand the message more.
Sometimes I find with hip hop as well, because there's so much like hip hop music that comes from worlds I have no idea about. I don't get references a lot, and a lot of the wordplay on like most gangster rap goes past me. But I find my favorite little things to listen to for my own time. It's just I get we're both coming from the same place of understanding what other people are talking about and what other people are listening to. Because I think it would benefit you a lot to understand that, because then your songs would be better.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely.
Yeah. And the more I understand, like, storytelling and conceptualizing, that's one thing I want to get better at, is storytelling in a song. So, like, saying things that are like linear, right? Just telling a series of events so that it's interesting, telling a story so that you can follow the narrative the whole way through,
Painting a picture. Yeah.
And that can be a real story or a fake story, but having it actually be interesting. Because I don't think I've ever done that before, and it's a really, really nice feeling when a song tells you a story.
Definitely.
I think I've deliberately not practiced that very much because it is so specific. It has this kind of thing in hip hop where there are certain songs that are the best story songs, and like if it's not one of them, if it's not as good as that to me, and if the story I'm trying to tell has already been told, then I can't do anything with that. So I just haven't practiced, but it's so cool when I hear a song that does that. So maybe that's it.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. It'd be cool to hear some storytelling stuff from you. It's definitely it's a really good way to connect with people and make people think, and expand people's imagination too.
Expanding imaginations. Goodness gracious, you're wholesome. Yeah, I want my imagination expanded by stories.
By stories, yeah. Well,
by stories.
That's why I love reading as well, because you can watch a movie and movies are cool and stuff, but I feel like books are they make you picture things, and I like that, and I think that's the same with lyrics.
Yeah, I am not a big reader or a big movie watcher or a big music listener. I occasionally catch a movie or a show. You seen Rick and Morty? That stuff's good.
Yeah,
I reference it a lot.
Yeah,
I want to ask you actually about referencing things in songs.
Yeah,
because that reminded me. I reference a lot of Rick and Morty lately in my bars because all I watch is Rick and Morty and BoJack Horseman because that is my lifestyle. Don't ask. There's reasons for everything. Don't judge. Don't ask.
Not judging.
Sweet. And I was just wondering, because that's so deliberate to me, doing it, like connecting with people who have connected with the same material I've connected with, brings me that much closer to exposing myself just a little bit. So how far do you think but also I do what everyone does and reference stuff just because it fits with the flow and it fits with the rhyme scheme.
I like doing that.
Where's the balance between that, making it personal so you actually want people to associate that bar with you and not just writing it because that felt good? Because it does feel good, but you're never going to be the best at writing things that feel good because there are like rhyme scheme wizards out there. And if you're a rhyme scheme wizard and it's not personal, I'm not going to watch you instead of my favorite rhyme scheme wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of the time when it's personal, you just can't be that technical. I was going to ask you about something in that. How are your thoughts feeling?
About referencing?
Yeah, specifically.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was writing bars today and I was going to reference Kelly Clarkson. And then I was like...
What do I know about Kelly Clarkson?
Yeah, exactly. It was just like... It was like me.
That's what I do. That's what I'm talking. That's the exact thing I'm talking about, dude.
And then I scrapped it. I scrapped it because it was just like it was corny, and it just, as
You
much
know what I
as
think
like
people do though?
as much as the rhyme scheme would have worked really well and kind of like stood out, it just wasn't. Like it didn't feel like I have no connection with like her music or anything. So it was like I just scrapped it. I was like, there's got to be a better bar than that, But I don't know. I feel like
I do have one more thing to say. You kind of get a lot of people give them, and I think this is wrong, and I'm guilty of this, but a lot of people will give themselves a pass.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Generally to talk about. Sorry. If it's like
you're just breaking up. You were breaking up before. What did you say?
Am I good now?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So?
Someone might have been using the microwave. It's okay.
That's all good.
Yeah, I was saying how sometimes when I write, I'll give myself a free pass because it's like a line about a serial killer, or it's a reference to this celebrity that everyone knows. Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, everyone knows it, but I just kind of write the name there, and then I start thinking of punchlines, and I'm like, oh,
what does really this person do?
I'm really, well, not so much it's difficult for me to think of stuff, because it's like, I'll write a name like Will Smith, and then I'll have 15 punchlines about getting smacked, like whatever. And I'll have punchlines about the titles of the movies they're in. And it's easy to do because I just have the internet. I just look it up and I'm like, okay, here's a movie title of the name of the actor, and here's the rhyme scheme. And so I put the movie title into where it fits into the rhyme scheme, and the actor where it fits into the rhyme scheme, because that's what I started. I had this, I needed this, and then I got this from looking up this. And it's a fun exercise, and it's a fun way to construct written word, but I don't think it's very meaningful or enjoyable as a consumer to listen to.
It can be pretty corny too.
It's like trying to trick someone into thinking you have a soul. And I've done that. It's fine to do, because when you're in that writing process, but then it's just like like stepping back from the writing pad and just asking yourself if you'd listen to it is, at the end of the day, the most important thing. And I just wanted to say that out loud.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like, with referencing, I've got a pet peeve, because I have seen rappers do this, and it's to me, it's something that I look at kind of, I wouldn't say like a red flag, but I don't know, rappers who reference way too much, right? Some rappers literally reference in almost every bar, like it's crazy, right? So like,
but it depends how deep the reference goes. It depends how deep the double entendre is. Like, it just depends, man. Because if every bar is really clever, then it just means they put that much effort into it. And it's like they just have to keep catching you off guard. And if they're sticking really niche and limiting themselves to that, I'm thinking of Babytron. Babytron, don't talk dirt on my boy. I've mentioned Babytron every podcast. I didn't even listen to Babytron, but I've said that before.
Rhyme, like this person. Then rhyme, like this person. And then rhyme, like this person. Like, literally.
That's fine.
I don't know. I don't like it.
Because that's them. And that's what
true.
They wrote.
But
they wrote. That's what they did. The only problem I have is when they put that out because they thought someone else would like it.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
problem I have.
Mm.
Is if they did that not to impress themselves, but to impress other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You can
Yeah.
do things to impress other people, but I think that I think it's a personal thing to reference things, and the more personal it is, the more easy it is to like get a reaction out of an audience from it. And the more you're willing, like Pokemon bars, I'll do the same with Pokemon. And there's a Denzel Curry bar, and this is an album, I'm pretty sure, the one that, I think it's his most recent album, which it would be really funny if it was, because there's a jazz version of that album, like a soul band version. And I just think it'd be really funny to hear this bar over like classy soul music, but I don't remember what album it was from. And it's like, something versus me is like Charmeleon versus Bulbasaur. No, it's Bulbasaur versus Charmeleon. And in my head, I'm just like, that's a bar and it's funny and I love it. But if I wrote it, I would have scrapped the whole thing and made it into Charizard instead of Charmeleon. Because Charizard is stronger than Charmeleon because it's the evolved. And it just would have made more sense. And I would never have finished that. But it's still a bar. And so the filters that you have, you're really going to keep them in check, because you can be giving yourself not enough credit. You can be just finicky over one bar, being like, it's not clever enough. Chuck it out, rewrite it. Don't fix it. If you've been working on the bar for more than like a couple, you've gone back to it a couple different times and tried to fix it, that's when it just gets deleted.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. What were we talking about?
References.
We're gonna.
But
what's the time? Yeah, we can wrap up.
We should probably wrap it up, man. But you've got a show coming up, and how are you feeling about that? The last show at the Street Uni Canberra. How are you feeling about that?
Feeling like I'm not going to let you down. Feeling like practicing a bunch now that you remind me. Feeling like my throat is never going to get better. Feeling like I'm going to be coughing and not having the voice, and I'm really scared. And it's in like 2 or 3 weeks or something. And goodness, I couldn't be more sick right now.
Just have fun.
I could be more sick, but I've been getting over like a cold, like an infection or something in my throat. Probably COVID. I've got more RAPS tests, so I might take some more. But
yeah, cool.
I heard COVID is coming back from work. Sorry. Anyway, and being sick is bad, and that's how I feel. We're gonna wrap it up.
Awesome. Thank you for joining the podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, Jack.
Bye.